Part 230. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2292. Zhang Chen's mother had no serious problems except for back pain and some difficulty walking. Dr. Zong said that there was nothing that could be done about it. The muscles and bones had been damaged for 100 days, so she could only recover slowly. I was prescribed Yunnan Bio aerosol. Spray the medicine on the painful area 3 or 4 times a day. After 4 or 5 days, the symptoms will be relieved. Zhang Chen's mother was half lying on the hospital bed. She said, "I think I'm fine too. Look, I'm not dizzy or blind. You go, so you can go back to have dinner. What are you doing in the hospital?" Although a nurse has been hired, Dr. Zong has always emphasized that Zhang Chen's mother is fine, but it has been the first time in decades for Zhang's mother to be admitted to a hospital. Everyone feels that she still needs family members to accompany her, and no matter how considerate the nurse is, she will always be able to survive. Not as considerate as family members. Xiaofang's mother said that it would be fine if she stayed here with her, but Zhang Chen said no, "How can you two old people stay here? It's better for me to stay here." Xiaofang said, "It's not convenient for you either. Mom needs to urinate or wipe herself, so I'd better stay here to help. If she gets sleepy at night, I can just sit at the foot of Mom's bed or sleep on the sofa. My mother will come over to replace me during the day tomorrow. Mom, do you think this is okay?" When Zhang Chen's mother heard this, she said, "Okay, it's best for Xiaofang to be here. You are usually busy and don't have time. Tonight we can talk together." The matter was settled. Xiaofang stayed in the hospital with Zhang Chen's mother. The others went back to have dinner. Zhang Chen's mother urged them, saying, "Go quickly, go quickly. There are still 4 starving ghosts at home. Why don't you go back quickly? They will howl with hunger." Everyone laughed, knowing that she was talking about the 2 land reclamation warriors, Zhang Xiangzi and Lu Wenqian. Zhang Chen and the others returned home and saw Xiaofang's father sitting in the living room, watching TV. Zhang Xiangzi and Lu Wenqian were lying on the sofa nearby, playing with game consoles in their hands. Seeing them come in, Xiaofang's father quickly stood up and asked, "How is it?" Zhang Chen said it was okay, he would stay in the hospital for 1 night and he could come back tomorrow. Xiaofang's father said, "Oh." When Zhang Chen's mother had just been sent to the hospital, Xiaofang's mother called him and told him that her mother-in-law had fallen. At the hospital, the 2 land reclamation warriors wanted to go there, but Zhang Chen's mother told him not to come. "Don't let them come. Take good care of the 2 children at home. It's best for the children to come to the hospital less often." Tan Shahen and Xiaofang's mother went into the kitchen to prepare dinner. On the way back, Zhang Chen called Tuxian Jiayuan Hotel and asked them to deliver food. Tan Shahen and Xiaofang's mother went to the kitchen to make a soup and stir-fry 2 vegetables, and cook the rice in a rice cooker. Zhang Xiangzi came over and said to Zhang Chen, "Dad, I want to go to the hospital to see Grandma." Lu Wenqian, who was following her, said, "I want it too." Zhang Chen said, "Children go to the hospital for what? Grandma will be back tomorrow. Your mother is with Grandma in the hospital. Go and do whatever you need to do." Zhang Xiangzi pursed his lips, and Lu Wenqian looked at her and pursed her lips too. However, Zhang Xiangzi turned to Lu Yun, and Lu Wenqian pestered Lu Ligan. Zhang Chen asked Xiaofang's father, "Where is Lao Zhang?" Xiaofang's father looked around and said with some confusion, "It was still here before, but now I don't know where it went." Zhang Chen went upstairs to take a look but saw no one. He walked to the door and saw no one either. He walked towards the underground parking lot and walked to the workshop of 2 land reclamation warriors in the corner. The door of the workshop was ajar. Then, Zhang Chen opened the door. It was dark inside. Zhang Chen was about to exit when a voice suddenly sounded in the darkness, which startled him. How is your mother? Zhang Chen stretched out his hand to turn on the light, and Lao Zhang turned his head hastily. At that moment, Zhang Chen saw tears flashing in Lao Zhang's eyes, and Zhang Chen was startled. Oh, nothing's wrong. I just got hit on the waist. I'll have a comprehensive checkup tomorrow and then I can go home. Xiaofang is with me in the hospital, Zhang Chen said. Lao Zhang let out a long breath, his voice was very soft, but there was a slight echo in the silent basement, and his body that had been tense seemed to relax. Zhang Chen said, "Go up and eat. I asked the hotel to deliver the food. It should be here soon." Lao Zhang snorted. Zhang Chen turned around and walked outside, leaving Lao Zhang alone to collect himself. Zhang Chen shook his head and couldn't help but laugh again. After breakfast the next morning, Tan Shuhen and Xiaofang's mother went to take Xiaofang's place to rest. Today, on Sunday, Tan Shuhen is not at work, so she will accompany Zhang Chen's mother to complete all the examinations. Putting down the bowls and chopsticks, the two land reclamation warriors went to the city exhibition hall to continue making the sand table. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan stayed at home to take care of their children. In the afternoon, Tan Shuhen called and said that Zhang Chen's mother had completed all the examinations and there were no problems and she could be discharged from the hospital. Xiaofang also got up at this time. Zhang Chen and Xiaofang went to the hospital to pick them up, leaving Zhang Xiangzi and Lu Wenqian with Lu Ligan. He took them to Xinhua bookstore to buy books. Zhang Chen's mother came back, and everything at home returned to normal, but this incident also made Zhang Chen alert. The elderly will eventually grow old, and so will he. There will be a day when he will leave, and this world will always exist, no matter what. Whether they are there or not, no matter who is there or not, the world will not even yawn, it will continue to exist at its own pace. No one should think how important or amazing they are. When thinking like this, people will become peaceful. In December, the year is almost over. Everyone is very busy. Lu Yun and Xiaofang went to the United States again. They have to get everything done and sign all the agreements before the Christmas holiday. That's it. Originally, Zhang Chen wanted to go to the United States with them this time, but after what happened to Zhang Chen's mother, Zhang Chen and Xiaofang agreed. In the future, if there is no way to refuse, it would be best for the two of them. If one of you stays at home, you cannot leave a room full of old people and children here. Although Lu Ligan and Tan Shuhen would take care of anything when they were away, and they didn't have to explain it to them, but for the elderly, it was different whether they had their children around or not. In fact, their hearts were deeper than what they showed on the outside. Much more fragile, just like the scene when Zhang Chen saw Lao Zhang in the underground parking lot, which touched him a bit. Xiaofang also said that after Xiao's death, her parents had been in a state of panic for a long time, always feeling that something bad would happen. "Dear, do you still remember that time when Xiaoshu couldn't be found?" Xiaofang asked. Zhang Chen said, of course he remembered. "That time, my parents almost collapsed. They knew you were looking around, but they didn't dare to call you. My mother called me in almost 5 minutes. The more I comforted them, it was okay. Even Xiaoshu was like this. The older they get, the more they suspect that something bad has happened and I have been hiding it from them. My parents didn't dare to call you. Another reason was that they were afraid of hearing bad news from your phone. Later I told them that Xiaoshu was found. My mother kept crying on the phone. Dad cried too." Xiaofang said, and Zhang Chen nodded. He said, "Actually, everyone is like this. The older you get, the more fragile you are and the more you worry about gains and losses. When you were young, nothing mattered and you were not afraid of death. Now you are afraid of everything. Often it's okay." "Are you talking about yourself?" Xiaofang asked. Zhang Chen nodded, "I also have this tendency." Xiaofang giggled. Zhang Chen wrote several pages of authorization letters. Xiaofang took his authorization letters with Lu Yun to the United States, but he did not go with him. Zhang Xiangbei sent Zhang Chen a WeChat message and told him that they had returned to Hainan, and the previous batches of cattle had also arrived at the ranch. The ranch had officially started operating, and the staff of the research institute were basically in place. Zhang Xiangbei and Zhang Chen said that the institute has a strong lineup, including 3 PhDs who have returned from overseas, as well as 2 professors from South China Agricultural University and Huazhong Agricultural University, who have led several research groups respectively, including one from the Chinese Academy of Sciences and a double academician of the Academy of Engineering, and their chief scientist, Gu Gong, invited him to his house after cooking for him for more than a week. Zhang Chen laughed loudly after seeing it. Zhang Xiangbei also sent him a lot of pictures, especially when Zhang Chen went to Hainan, explaining what Bao Tianben needed to change. Zhang Chen is now used to it. When he wakes up every morning, the first thing he does is open WeChat to see if Zhang Xiangbei has left a message for him. People in Hainan go to bed late at night, and there are a lot of people together. It's very lively. Zhang Xiangbei usually sends WeChat messages to Zhang Chen at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. By that time, Zhang Chen has already fallen asleep. Anyway, Zhang Xiangbei doesn't care whether Zhang Chen calls back or not. Sometimes Zhang Chen wakes up in the morning and sees that Zhang Xiangbei's side is quiet when he calls back. In the afternoon or evening, he only replies with oh or uh-huh. Father and son didn't communicate much before. Zhang Xiangbei talked a lot with Xiaofang, and would ask Xiaofang to tell Zhang Chen if something happened. Now, he knows how to send Zhang Chen a WeChat message directly. This matter itself makes Zhang Chen feel, he was very pleased. He felt that Zhang Xiangbei had really matured after getting married, and he felt that something hard between them was quietly melting. Just like something was quietly melting between Zhang Chen and Lao Zhang. Tan Shahen's podcast town has completed the reconstruction part and the new part is still under construction. Tan Shahen originally planned to wait until the 3 buildings were capped before holding the opening ceremony of the podcast town, but the Jubeo town government refused to do so. They urged Tan Shahen to hold the town opening ceremony now. Tan Shahen understands them. Now that the town opening ceremony is held, the podcast town can be included in the year-end summary of the town government, which is the performance of this government. In March next year, the 2 sessions will be held, and the members of this team will be changed by then. They don't know if they will continue to stay here. They don't want to leave such fresh peaches in podcast town for others to pick. In addition, starting this year, the provincial government has encouraged everyone to create various characteristic towns to cooperate with the rural revitalization plan. All regions have taken action. The opening ceremony of the town is in front, and each one is a hot topic in the news. Later, the hot pot will also cool down. The mayor came and told Tan Shahen that now the provincial government has an incentive policy for characteristic towns. If you open a town here, we can immediately fight for you and strive to be included in the key characteristic towns in the province and city next year. For you, don't overdo the benefits. Well, this money and these benefits are not free, so Tan Shahen and her friends chose to open their podcast town on December 18, 2018, at the end of the year. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you to Zhongxing Ming Chen, Hu, Nevin Moore, and Hao, and Book Friends 201802241122201712 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2293. Tan Shahen and others caused a sensation when they podcast about the opening of the town. On the day of the opening of the town, although 1/3 of the shops on the first floor below were still being renovated and were not open due to lack of time, those that had already opened became Jubeo's highest-end hotel cluster has also become the busiest place in Jubeo. It's lively because, as Ween Wen said, the streets are full of handsome men and beautiful women. On the day the town opened, all the anchors ran from upstairs to downstairs, holding mobile phone stands to do live broadcasts. The live podcast town opened grand occasion. The 4-story house Lu Yun and the others rented has not yet been built, but Wien Wen and Chien brought the anchors from Fanhua Network here to join in the fun. They broadcast the live broadcast of the opening of the podcast town and turned the camera to the sky. He shouted at the scaffolding. "Did you see that, babies? This will be our live broadcast room from now on." During the day, colorful flags were flying everywhere and the sun was shining brightly. At night, waves began to surge in the entrance square. Of course, they were not real waves, but projected by the projectors around the square. The waves not only surged in everyone's, the waves rolled under their feet and on everyone's body and hair. Everyone was having fun chasing the waves in the square. Nearby residents flocked to this town, as well as many from the main urban area of Hangzhou. After seeing the live broadcast, they also drove over to see this podcast town. The name sounds cool. What exactly is it? After coming, they wandered down the streets. They saw that there was bright light in every window here. They could see through the windows on the second floor that half of the background wall was arranged like a shop window, and half of the head was exposed. It's as straight as if you were broadcasting Xinwen Lianbo. There are also those who are immodest. Even if the windows are closed, the hoarse voices of those howling faction anchors will still leak out from the cracks in the windows. What caught their attention even more were the anchors with hang tags on their clothes. They took advantage of their shifts to go down to Starbucks and KFC to eat and drink, or go to Lawson convenience store to eat ice cream wrapped in down coats. When they got tired of shopping, they went into a nearby hotel and started eating late-night snacks. They were surrounded by men and women who were doing live broadcasts. Many of the time for live broadcasts was not fixed. Big-name live broadcasts could occupy the prime time and time of the platform. Resources, ordinary anchors, have to queue up. From the afternoon to the early morning, no matter what time, there are people busy, and there are also people idle. Those who are idle will come down to eat late at night, wait until the time when they start broadcasting, and then rush out and go back to the live broadcast room or dressing room. The scene is really, it seems like this is a TV studio or the backstage of a large variety show. At dinner, Chen Hansheng and Xiao Hengta entertained guests at the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. At noon, Tan Shehen represented the podcast town and entertained the leaders and guests attending the opening ceremony. In the evening, they entertained those Taiwanese who worked hard in Hangzhou. Fellows, after the podcast town opened, both of them felt like they had turned over and were beaming with joy. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen were also invited to attend. Chen Hansheng and Xiao Hengta said that you two deserved the most credit and could not come. Moreover, Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, arrived at Zhang Chen's office before the banquet, and the three of them went down together. Before going there, they only knew that there were many Taiwanese bosses in Kunshan, Suzhou, but they didn't know that there were so many Taiwanese bosses in Hangzhou. Chen Hansheng and Xiao Hengta set up a total of 16 tables, and every table was full. Some came from Hsinchu and Miili in Taipei, some came from Changhua and Yunlin in Taichung, some came from Qi, Kaohsiung, Tainan, and some came from Hualien, Nantou. From Keelung, New Taipei, almost all bosses from every city and county in Taiwan are in Hangzhou. Lin Shuwen and Wang Minsheng were also present. Lin Shuwen was a celebrity when she was in Taipei. At that time, she was the fashion king in Taipei. She was still a celebrity in mainland China. She started as a wedding photo studio queen and is now a leader in the education and training industry. She dragged Zhang Chen from table to table and introduced to everyone that this is my brother, the owner of this hotel. Everyone said that they knew, Awen, and boss Zhang didn't know. It's true that there is probably no business owner in Hangzhou who has not been to the Tuxianjiayuan Hotel. Zhang Chen probably shook hands and talked to many of them before, but he didn't get any closer. But Zhang Chen really didn't know that there were so many Taiwanese bosses in Hangzhou. Zhang Chen suddenly remembered a person. He searched hard in the crowd, but could not find it. What Zhang Chen thought of was Cai Jingxiang, who opened a shop in Sijiking Fabric Market. When Zhang Chen first started making clothes, many of the fabrics came from him. Cai Jingxiang would specially keep any good goods he bought in for Zhang Chen. After Zhang Chen picked them out, he would buy them for other people. Cai Jingxiang is a little different from the bosses here. They came to Hangzhou from Taiwan to the mainland just like Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, looking for opportunities and hard work. Cai Jingxiang followed love and came to Hangzhou from Taiwan. Zhang Chen returned to his seat and sat down, feeling a little empty. For a while, whenever Zhang Chen went to the fabric market, he would go to Cai Jingxiang's place and regard it as his base. The two of them should be talking very speculatively. They chatted very well, but later on, I don't know when they started, and the number of times they saw each other became less and less. To this day, I have forgotten how long it has been since they didn't contact each other. Some people are just like this, they disperse while walking and never hear from each other. Zhang Chen picked up his mobile phone and swiped it with his fingers. He found that Cai Jingxiang's number was still there. Zhang Chen couldn't help but dial it. As a result, what came on the phone was, "The number you dialed is not available." Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. He didn't know what happened. A person's phone number became empty. There must have been some change in the process, because they were separated. He didn't know anything about the change. Zhang Chen felt even more empty. He made up his mind to go to the fabric market tomorrow. "Little brother, come on, have a drink," Liu Bang and Zhang Chen, the great ancestors of the Han dynasty, said to them. Zhang Chen raised his glass and touched it with him, then drank it all in one gulp. Putting down the cup, Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, asked, "Little brother, what's wrong, are you worried?" No, Zhang Chen said quickly, "Seeing so many friends from Taiwan, I thought of a person." "Brother, do you still remember that there used to be a boss named Cai Jingxiang at the Sijiking Fabric Market? How many times have we had dinner together?" Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, also remembered that there was such a person. Zhang Chen brought him here at that time. He didn't talk much when eating and drinking, and he was not very gregarious. Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, only remembered that he also came from Taipei. "What happened to him?" Liu Bang, the emperor of Han dynasty, asked. Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Nothing, I just think of him and wonder how he is now." Liu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, nodded and understood. He stood up and shouted, Hey, you all listen to me." Everyone present stopped drinking and talking, and turned to look at Liu Bang, the emperor of Han dynasty. Liu Bang, the emperor of Han dynasty, said, "There is a boss named Cai at the Sijiking Fabric Market who is also from Taipei. Do any of you know him?" Everyone looked at each other and shook their heads. Someone shouted, "Your Majesty, what's wrong? He owes you money." Your mother," Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, cursed. Liu Bang, the founder of the Han dynasty, sat down and said to Zhang Chen, "I don't even know him. It seems that he doesn't interact with people from Taiwan. He probably has no contact with the Taiwan Business Association. Otherwise, no one here would know him." Zhang Chen nodded, and he thought about it. Cai Jingxiang was originally in Taipei, and he was just a Chinese teacher in the school. It seemed that he had no interaction with these people. Xiao Hongte came over with a cup and came to toast Liu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, Zhang Chen and Liu Ligan. Everyone drank. Chen Hansheng came over and toasted their wine too and drank again. Then, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, the boss, whom he didn't even know, came to toast the emperor's wine. Lu Bang, the emperor of the Han dynasty, brought Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, two young brothers, and everyone drank one glass after another. The next morning, Zhang Chen left home and went to the Sijiking fabric market to look for Cai Jingxiang's stall. As a result, he couldn't find Cai Jingxiang's stall when he walked to the end of the aisle. It is now a curtain street, and everyone sells curtains. Zhang Chen thought he was in the wrong aisle. He went back to the entrance to check to see if it was there. Zhang Chen continued to walk in and walked to the end. It turned out that Cai Jingxiang's stall was here, and now it has been divided into two, becoming two houses. Zhang Chen asked the curtain sellers, but they didn't know who Cai Jingxiang was. Zhang Chen walked back and walked to the hall at the door. Looking at the stairs leading to the second floor, Zhang Chen's eyes lit up. He remembered and hurried to the back of the stairs and saw the small space under the stairs. The stall selling clothing accessories and zippers is still there. After all these years, Zhang Chen can recognize at a glance that the boss is still the same boss. Zhang Chen approached. Although he was an old customer, he no longer knew Zhang Chen. This old customer had been old for too long. Zhang Chen asked him, "Do you know the Taiwanese boss in the corner?" "Boss Cai?" "You mean Boss Cai?" the other party asked. Zhang Chen was right. Where has his stall been moved now? "No more," the other party said. "Boss Cai is no longer doing business here. He has gone back to Taiwan." Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment and asked, "When did it happen?" "It's been almost 2 or 3 years, the other party said. Zhang Chen asked, "I remember that Boss Cai has a family in Hangzhou and is married." "Yes, my wife and I went to Taiwan together," the other party said. Zhang Chen walked out of the fabric market. The sun was very good today. The sun was very warm on the human body. Zhang Chen sat down on the steps at the entrance of the fabric market. He took out the cigarettes in his pocket, took out one and lit it, and sat there. Started smoking. Passing by him, all the faces were unfamiliar. Zhang Chen thought of the first piece of clothing he designed, which was the fabric he bought here, a maternity skirt made for Xiao Zhao. It seemed that it was also on that day that he met Cai Jingxiang. Now that Xiao Zhao is gone, Cai Jingxiang has returned to Taiwan with his wife and children. Zhang Chen thinks that there is a high probability that he will go back to school and become his Chinese teacher again, and his wife will be the extra mainland Chinese wife in Taipei. I wonder if they are doing well over there? Thank you to Boring Soul, On the Road to a Nation, Daos Hung 123, and Zongkai 727 for your monthly tickets. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2294. Zhang Chen returned to the upstairs of the half-acre field building, where his apprentice Ji Ling was waiting for him. The two people walked into the office and sat down across the desk. Ji Ling held a folder and handed it to Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen opened it. Inside were pictures of their spring and summer 2019 clothing, and there are two plans. One is a plan to open a live broadcast room in a podcast town, and the other is a plan for Ji Ling and others to take these clothes and models and go out to shoot posters. These posters are no longer used to be printed into promotional brochures, but to be promoted online and used in their Dabao stores and Amazon stores, which is very important. Zhang Chen laughed when he saw the plan for opening a live broadcast room. He said, "How could I forget this? Our live broadcast room is really in a podcast town, which is more suitable than staying in the Sky City." Ji Ling said with a smile, "Master, how many things can you remember now? How long has it been since you went to our design center? The new designers recruited this year don't even know you yet. Zhang Chen laughed loudly and said, "Okay, Ge Ling, that's a good criticism. I'm really busy now, most of the time, but this also shows that you are amazing. Throughout the season when the costumes come out, I'm no longer needed. I need it, but I don't dare to disturb it," Ge Ling said. "We are a sunset industry with little future or profit." "Are you scolding me for hating the poor and loving the rich?" Zhang Chen heard the resentment in Ge Ling's words and asked, "But you are not poor either." "No, I just feel that these clothes are still the same for everyone now. Everyone has to wear them, and the number of clothes they own is only a lot more than before. But why do I feel that this industry is no longer popular? Master, to be honest, sometimes I feel confused as to whether there is any future in this industry," Ge Ling said. Zhang Chen listened. With a flick of his finger, the pen on the table spun around. Zhang Chen raised his head and said to Ge Ling, "In fact, it's not surprising. People now receive more information. Clothing has become a necessity in life, not a luxury. It's almost impossible to save for several months to buy a piece of clothing. When buying clothes, it has become more and more common, and because it is common, people pay less attention to it. Do you care about the brand of rice you eat every day? If the rice price rises by 2 cents, what will it do to you? But when I was a child, if the price of rice rose by 1 penny, Zhang Xiangbei's grandma would complain about it. For a month, not only her, but the whole town would be talking about the increase in rice prices. Now, no one cares. Including when you were a kid, eating KFC once was such a big deal. Now, do people still take eating KFC seriously? Our clothes are similar. They have changed from luxury goods to necessities of life and become something that is easily available to everyone. There are so many things that people need to care about every day. Who would think about what clothes to buy all day long? Even real luxury goods, no one cares about them now. Isn't there a saying that those who don't wear a products are fools, and only male and female Neptunes buy LV? As for fashion design, when we first started, the message we received was very simple. It was the same all over the world from TV, books, newspapers, and magazines. At that time, everyone was focused on Milan Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week. The opening of Fashion Week is a major event in the world. We have no way to be there in person, and we can't watch the video, we can only wait. Waiting for the special issue of Milan Fashion Week. At that time, the only original magazine in Sijiking's newsstand was the special issue of Milan Fashion Week, and the supply exceeded demand. Those who set up clothing stalls, the older ones read Shanghai Clothing, and the young ones they are all reading Rulai and World Fashion Garden, and buying special issues of Milan Fashion Week. Including that time, the models on Shanghai's new Silk Road were all more famous than movie stars. When you look through newspapers and magazines, they were all introducing designers. A few hairdressers could be famous throughout the country. There was no way. At that time, the spotlight was focused on them, and the channels for people to receive information were so narrow. It can be said that fashion models and designers could become familiar even if they were forced to, even if you didn't even want to know them. Nowadays, there are so many things to watch every day, and the information received is so complicated. Let alone our industry, it is the real entertainment industry, real stars. How long can they stay fresh? If an actor does not show up for a year, then it's outdated, so those stars, even if they don't have movies or TV shows, they still have to appear in variety shows, just so that everyone can still remember that face. When MS Gong went to the Cannes Film Festival, it was such a sensation. It was a real sensation in the world. Our brand and I also benefited from it. Now, every time at the Cannes Film Festival, only those who are actually invited and spend money to go to the red carpet, I don't know how many there will be, do you remember one? including fashion models. Ge Ling, you are in this business. How many domestic fashion models can you name? No matter how famous they are probably not as big as Ween Wen, who does live broadcasts, right? By the way, I did it yesterday when I saw Ween Wen. She bragged to me that she was still very popular, right? Yes, it's really popular, Ge Ling said with a smile. Master, what you said makes sense. I feel much better after listening to you. We must have a good mentality. We who are designers are originally a profession. It turns out that there are a lot of halos that do not belong to us and mistakenly shine on us, making us look like stars. In fact, there is no need for it. It is Gucci and Armani. Big brands. Do you know who their chief designer is this year? Zhang Chen asked. I don't care, Ge Ling shook her head and said, I only care about what the customers of Daibao and Amazon need. Zhang Chen laughed loudly and said, by the way, your mentality is right. The industry is becoming more and more divided, and we will care about what we should care about. Zhang Chen picked up the live broadcast room plan, looked at it, flicked it with his fingers, and said, but I didn't expect this. I shouldn't have. I designed the podcast town. I should have known that selling goods live is the future trend. Oh, what should I do now? I know that Tan Shahan's house seems to have been rented out. It doesn't matter. Ween Wen and I have already agreed that Fan Hua will give us a piece of it. At that time, the resources of our anchors can still be shared, Ge Ling said. Okay, then this matter is settled, you just do it, Zhang Chen said. Ge Ling nodded, I understand, Master, please take a look at our shooting plan again. Zhang Chen picked up the plan and looked at it. In this plan, Ge Ling planned to take 5 models and a fleet of 6 cars to shoot for a week. The destination was Phoenix, Hunan. Zhang Chen and Ge Ling said, the time can be considered longer. Wangkan near Fenghuang should now be renamed Furong Town. By the way, have you seen the movie Furong Town, right? I saw it when I was a kid, Ge Ling said. Wangkan is Furong Town. I think there are some places there that are better than Fenghuang. Fenghuang is now too commercial and lacks the original feeling, Zhang Chen said. You can still look around, but it's best to look for those places it's not developed very much, so that the pictures will be fresh, otherwise it will be all those things that everyone is tired of seeing. Ge Ling said, okay, I understand. There is a designer in our design center from that area. I'll ask her if she has any good suggestions. Okay, let's go when we've thought about it. You don't need to ask for my consent and approval again. You have the final say on this matter. Zhang Chen said, flipping through the pages of their new works this year. He saw that many styles were very novel and bold. Their half-acre field now recruits a group of new graduates from school every year. Designers, it can be seen that the current group of children are different from the original ones. They have very broad ideas and broad knowledge. They often have bright spots in design. What surprised Zhang Chen the most was that today's children have very distinctive design styles and are very individual. They come from the same school and design things in completely different ways. From this, we can also see that the competition in the design field is becoming more and more fierce. It is not that this mountain looks higher than that mountain, but that everything is covered with mountains. However, which industry is not like this now? Now it is not a single plank bridge with thousands of troops and horses, but an 8-lane road with too many people, and it will still overcrowd you. Zhang Chen felt that, just like he did in the beginning, with a little cleverness, you can find a way out. In today's era, it is almost impossible. Fortunately, I have already found my way out. Zhang Chen looked at the pictures carefully. He couldn't comment on the styles themselves. On the contrary, he felt that he had learned something every time he looked at them. Zhang Chen picked up the shooting plan and said to Ge Ling, I think your plan needs to be revised and enriched. How to change it? Ge Ling asked. When talking about cotton and linen, don't think of old houses, fields, deserts, small bridges, and flowing water. You should also go to Jianjiang New Town or go to Lujiazhuai, Shanghai for filming. Remember, Ji Ling, cotton and linen are a kind of spirit. This kind of attitude towards life, if you take it a little higher, it can be said to be a philosophy of life, which is generous, gentle, and not showing off its edge. Why must we wear cotton and linen clothes in the countryside? Can't we go between skyscrapers? Can't we go out in office buildings? If a woman wearing cotton and linen clothes appears in an office building, the lines of the company will be much softer. It will make the atmosphere of the entire company less rigid. Just follow this idea and take another set of pictures, and then put the two sets of pictures together or present them to everyone at the same time. There will definitely be a very good effect. Trust my intuition. As Zhang Chen spoke, Ji Ling's eyes also lit up, and she shouted, "That's great, Master, I always feel that something is missing. When you say it, I understand everything." You understand, right? Just do it when you understand, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Okay, Master, I'm leaving then. Ji Ling put away the documents on the table, put them in the folder, put them away and prepared to leave. Wait, wait, Zhang Chen shouted. What's wrong, Master? How is your father's health now? Zhang Chen asked. It's much better. Now he can cook and help me take care of my children, Ji Ling said. Yeah, that's good. Where's your mother? Still busy, I'll come back every half month. Okay, Ji Ling, when your mother comes back one day, you tell me that I will treat your parents and your whole family to dinner, Zhang Chen said. What are you doing, Master? Ji Ling asked. I haven't seen Ji Donghai and Liangfen for a long time. Can I meet them? Zhang Chen asked with a smile. Okay, they must also want to see you. Ji Ling smiled and walked out. Thank you for the rewards of Baby Tin Soldier, Brokeback Mountain, 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, third from top to bottom, 2 fishes 1 up and 1 down, and reading books every day. Thank you for the monthly votes of On the Road, Tian Tian, Forgot Your Password from Xinlei, Yuzazialiu, and Book Friends 201802241122201712. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2295. After lunch, Zhang Chen originally wanted to lean on the sofa and rest for a while. He remembered that Wenwen told him yesterday that she would broadcast live at 12 noon every day. Zhang Chen could no longer remember the last time he watched Wenwen. When was Wen's live broadcast? It should have been several years ago. Yesterday I met Wenwen in the podcast town. Zhang Chen asked Wenwen if she was now behind the scenes and doing management work. Wenwen is now the general manager of Fanhua Network. Wenwen said that management needs to be done, and live broadcasting must also be done. If you have no performance, how can you teach the people below? It is difficult to lead people now. The third and fourth children will not obey you if you have no ability. Qian and Iqian is still the number 1 in the company. Zhang Chen didn't believe it and thought Wenwen was bragging. In Zhang Chen's impression, live broadcasting is only for young and beautiful girls. Only they can attract those fools to come in and give rewards. Wenwen and Qian are both over 40, although they don't look like that. Old, still around 30, but still incomparable to these pink girls on the street. How can I compete with them? But from what Ji Ling said before, it seemed certain that Wenwen was not bragging and that she was really popular. Zhang Chen became curious and wanted to see what kind of magic Wenwen had. Zhang Chen was sitting on the sofa. He looked at his watch. When the time came, he picked up his mobile phone and clicked into Wenwen's live broadcast room. Zhang Chen was shocked. He saw that Wenwen was not the only one in Wenwen's live broadcast room. There was also a person with Down syndrome sitting beside her, wearing a black tuxedo, a white shirt underneath, and a red t-shirt. The bow tie looks like this, as if I've seen it somewhere. Zhang Chen looked at Wen Wen and was shocked again. Wen Wen had completely started selling things in the live broadcast room. This was different from their early days when they embedded products into gags and started selling them directly. Nowadays, the live broadcasts are all is it that simple and crude? Zhang Chen, the founder of Fanhua Network, can be said to be the earliest builder of live broadcast platforms. He feels that he has become alienated from the live broadcast industry and cannot keep up. No wonder I saw so many little girls on the streets of the podcast town yesterday with no tags on their clothes. Those were not their work clothes, but the clothes they wore and sold. They sold them in the live broadcast room. If I want clothes, I will go shopping and eat. When I go back later, I will continue to sell my clothes. In the live broadcast room, Wen Wen was selling a cake. After introducing it for a while, she asked, "Jojo, is it delicious?" The patient with Down syndrome in the back kept clapping his hands, his head was not nodding, but he was shaking back and forth quickly, and he was shouting loudly. "Delicious." When he said eat, his eyes narrowed into slits, looking very funny. Zhang Chen couldn't help laughing. A few years ago, after Jojo, a patient with Down syndrome who could conduct a symphony orchestra on stage, it seemed that the names of all patients with Down syndrome had been changed to Jojo. Zhang Chen remembered it, no wonder he looked familiar. Dressing up, isn't it just like Zozu's look? Wen Wen shouted, "Did you hear that? Jojo said it was delicious." My darlings, my glib tongue may lie to you. Will Jojo lie to you? If you want to buy, prepare to start grabbing. If you don't want to buy, you will die. Now I'm going to start counting, 1, 2, 3, start. When Wen Wen said 1, 2, 3, Jojo stretched out his hand from behind and gestured, but it was chaotic. When he said 1, he had 5 fingers, when he said 2, he had 3 fingers, and when he said 3, he had 1 finger, and he was still grinning. Mouth, kept shouting, "Grab it, snatch it." After selling out the cakes, they then sold a facial massager. Wen Wen asked Jojo if it was good, and Jojo said yes. Wen Wen asked Jojo if her sister's face was slippery after using it. Jojo was very honest. He stood up and walked to the front, wanting to touch Wen Wen's face. Wen Wen cursed. "If you die, don't move, sit back." Jojo sat back, and like a scholar like Wen Wen, he also touched his face and shouted, "Slip, slip, sister's face is very slippery, grab it, grab sister." Inside and outside the live broadcast room, everyone was laughing. Zhang Chen's stomach almost hurt from laughing. Lu Ligan walked in, looked at him, and asked, "What's so funny?" "Come and see Wen Wen," Zhang Chen greeted him. Lu Ligan came over and sat down on the sofa. Zhang Chen put his mobile phone on the coffee table. The two of them watched Wen Wen selling goods and were overjoyed. Wen Wen was in the live broadcast room, cursing without covering her mouth, and she used her fingers to he was scolding the fans watching the live broadcast, but because he didn't specifically mention it, everyone didn't think he was scolding himself, but some idiot. Not only were they not annoyed, but they also laughed and scolded him. After an hour, Wen Wen's live broadcast at noon ended quickly. The live broadcast room was taken over by other anchors. The live broadcast they took over was normal, but Zhang Chen and the others immediately felt that it was too bland. They were not the only ones who felt this way. What was displayed on the screen, the number of fans is decreasing rapidly, and the host's face is starting to look ugly. She must regret it so much that she took over from Wen Wen. Lu Ligan said, "The little girl is still inexperienced. She didn't know that there were so many people watching from the beginning. It started well. As long as she can support her stay and get up, maybe Wen Wen thinks highly of her and puts her in this position." Zhang Chen turned off his phone and said with a smile, "There is really no humming bottom line." "What's the bottom line?" "It's not a performance or a TV series. Of course it's how to attract people's attention. I can guarantee that Jojo may be an internet celebrity now," Lu Ligan said as he picked up his mobile phone and searched it. Indeed, the first Jojo that appeared in Baidu said that he was an internet celebrity and Wenwen's live broadcast assistant. You see, the purpose has been achieved, attracting people's attention, and also solving the employment problem of a disabled person. "Wenwen's trick is good," Lu Ligan said. "People nowadays are just itchy and have not heard the radio. There are so many people here who call me just to scold me, and they feel better after being scolded." Zhang Chen listened and couldn't help but be silent. It's true. Live broadcasts are all about attracting attention. Just like in a market, if a seller doesn't know how to shout, his goods will definitely not be sold. To perform a circus, you have to send a monkey first. Walking in circles, beating gongs and drums to circle people. Nowadays, those who do live broadcasts can do anything. As long as you have characteristics, it doesn't matter whether you are fat, thin, male, female, old, or young, as long as you can attract fans, Lu Ligan said. It seems that Wenwen really knows how to keep pace with the times. No wonder she is always popular. She has too many tricks, Zhang Chen sighed. Of course, we don't care who brought it out, Lu Ligan said proudly. Just blow it. What are you bragging about, Zhang Chen? If I were 20 years younger and had nothing, in this era, I would definitely not sell houses or clean buildings. I would just do live broadcasts, and I guarantee that I can make a difference, Lu Ligan said. That's right, if you go to the live broadcast room and perform hey hey hey, it will definitely attract people's attention, Zhang Chen scolded. The two of them were chatting. Zhang Chen talked about the feeling in his heart when Ji Ling was there in the morning. He said, "Young people today are so powerful. If I were 30 years younger, I would be thrown to this moment. I'm really not sure whether I can compete with them." "Don't underestimate yourself," Lu Ligan waved his hand and said, "their current situation was also created by us. Without the efforts of our generation to advance the entire society to the current level, they would have such strong competitiveness. Don't worry, gold like ours will shine wherever you put it. If you don't do this, you do that. Just being thrown in with a bang, 2 poppers, didn't I say it before, I can do a good job just to do a live broadcast. What about you, can't you be a designer? Just do it. Now I have my own studio and a company, it's the same thing. You think there was no competition at that time? I went to the Humming newspaper office, and there were more than 20 people who were recruited to pull advertisements with me. The others all ran away the next day. I was the only one who was stupid enough to insist on sweeping the building every day. If he didn't sweep the building, how could he have met Chen Qiang and Li Yong, and how could anything happen later? You arrived at Lao Tan's company and drew a painting on the spot. Lao Tan admitted you. He kept saying later that he had picked up a treasure. What kind of treasure was he picking up? If you didn't have the ability, how could you be a treasure? Including that many companies want to take over Wanghai Tower, but Habishan likes your design at a glance. Didn't you come out of competition? Lu Ligan's words left Zhang Chen speechless. By the way, do you still remember the director of Danzhou Farm? Zhang Chen asked. We wanted to plant rubber with him, but he persuaded us to persist in Haikan. Of course, remember, he is one of the noble people we met in Hainan. Without him, we would have lost our lives. If there is a delay, maybe we are still growing rubber on Wuzi Mountain now, and we have a Hainan SM mother-in-law and 4 or 5 children at home, Lu Ligan said with a smile. Zhang Chen nodded. Later, when I went to Danzhou, I also thought about whether I might bump into him by chance. If I did, I would definitely thank him properly. Lu Ligan stared at Zhang Chen, as if he wanted to carve out a piece of flesh from his face. Zhang Chen cursed, "What are you looking at me for? Zhang Chen, is there something wrong with you? Why do you always bring up things from the past? Lu Ligan asked. Didn't you mention it too? Zhang Chen cursed, then immediately lost his temper and said. It's true, I often think about people and things from the past. This morning, I went to the Sijiking fabric market and looked for the Taiwanese but couldn't find him. He went back to Taiwan. When I saw Ji Ling, I really want to meet Ji Donghai and Liangfen. You're so damn old, Lu Ligan shouted. When you're old, just be old. There's no shame in being old, Zhang Chen muttered. Thank you, Mike, on the road daily monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2296. Yao Fen resigned from the position of Secretary General of the Splendid China and is now a professional painter, or to be more precise, a semi-professional painter. Like Xiao Shu, she became the resident painter of the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. Yao Fen likes the position of the resident painter very much. There is no pressure. Her daily job is to paint. It is not much different from a professional painter, but she is in contact with the outside world every day. Unlike a professional painter, who works behind closed doors in the studio every day, which is also stressful. Too boring. Every day, the two of them sleep until noon before getting up. Gan Xiangdong is placed with Yao Fen's parents and they take care of him. Get up, wash up, drink some milk and eat some bread. Sometimes Yao Fen will fry a few eggs or bacon, which is breakfast. After eating, the two of them go to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery, in the open studio draw. If it was still early, before 12 o'clock, they would go out after washing and go to Zhang Chen's house for lunch. After lunch, they would go to the Riverside Oil Painting Gallery. When working, the two of them were still the same as before. Xiaoshu was at the other end of the studio and Yao Fen was at this end. The two of them did not disturb each other. What is different from before is that now there are so many people coming to the studio to watch them paint that they have to make an appointment. Zhao Xian arranges a security guard at the door. Only 20 people can enter every day. Sometimes they are lenient or the security guard it can't stop those Baba's eyes, so I will add 2 or 3 more, and any more will affect the creation of Xiaoshu and Yao Fen. These children studying art came in with backpacks, milk, and bread, and sat down on the floor, watching Xiaoshu and Yao Fen draw. They spent the whole day watching how they dealt with the details. How to use a pen and a scraper, this is really the best on-site teaching. Especially after Yao Fen became famous, more and more people came to see her paint. Yao Fen can be said to be the idol in everyone's heart. Some of these children studying painting have not yet reached the age to take the art exam, and some have already reached the age and failed to pass the exam. Yao Fen is their idol. They know that Yao Fen has also failed to take the exam for many years. I didn't go to any formal art school, but now I have become a famous painter and my works are selling well. You can support yourself by painting and live a good life. Which child who studies painting doesn't have such an ideal in his heart? For those who don't know, I thought that Yao Fen was Xiaoshu's wife and had some influence from Xiaoshu. Xiaoshu might have helped paint many of the works. But when I got here and actually observed them, I felt that she was really amazing and she didn't even use her. Without Xiaoshu's help, the two of them would just do their own thing. When Xiaoshu is painting, there are people watching from behind. He rarely gets distracted and rarely communicates with others. When people say anything to him, he just uses right, that's right and yes. Such a simple 1 or 2 word response. Yao Fen is different from Xiaoshu. She speaks softly and communicates with others patiently. She talks while drawing in her hands without delaying at all. Sometimes she will break her own rhythm in order to demonstrate. To draw parts that you are obviously not ready to start painting yet, just to let the other party see clearly. Sometimes she would even lead them, stand behind Xiaoshu, and explain Xiaoshu's creations to them. Zhao Xian saw it and smiled. Yao Fen, you are so patient. None of the teachers who hold training classes are as patient as you. Yao Fen smiled and said, what's the matter? I came here too, and I understand them very well. Besides, I'm not the artist in residence. When I'm in the museum, I have to pay attention to the image of our museum. This made Yao Fen very popular here. The children who came here to watch their painting quickly distinguished the two people. They called Xiaoshu master and Yao Fen teacher. Xiaoshu heard this and started talking to Yao Fen. They said, add another word, call me senior brother. I also learned it from teacher Yao before. Yao Fen rolled her eyes at him and Xiaoshu laughed. Although Yao Fen and the children all lowered their voices, they couldn't stop the crowd. There was still a constant buzzing sound in the studio all day long. Xiaoshu thought of a trick. When he was creating, he simply wore headphones and listened. Listen to music and create at the same time. In this way, when others see him wearing headphones, they won't come to say anything to him. He doesn't even need to say yes, that's right. When it's time for dinner, when Zhao Xian is there, he will always come and call them. The two of them go to Zhao Xian's office and the three of them eat together. When Zhao Xian is not there, the security guard will come and call them. They go to Zhao Xian. The staff in the office and canteen have already placed the meals there. When they left the studio, the children did not leave. Instead, they sat there quietly, eating bread, drinking milk, and communicating with each other. They wanted to take advantage of Xiaoshu and Yao Fen's absence to touch them. Painting tools will be immediately stopped by other people. When Xiaoshu and Yao Fen came back, everything continued. At 9 o'clock in the evening, when the museum closes, the security will come in and ask all the children out. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen are still here. The lights in the exhibition hall outside have been turned off, but the lights in the studio are still bright. They will work here until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning before going back. After everyone else in the studio has gone, Xiaoshu will take off his headphones, and the two of them will paint and talk. When they get tired of painting, sometimes Xiaoshu will walk over and stand behind Yao Fen. I would sit down in an armchair and watch Yao Fen paint. Sometimes, on the contrary, Yao Fen would come over and watch Xiaoshu paint. In the second half of the night, Xiaoshu will order takeout. This is their midnight snack and also their dinner. Dinner is their most solemn meal. Xiaoshu will order a lot of food. When the takeaway boy delivers it, it can only be delivered to the door below. They couldn't enter the art museum, so the security guards would help them bring takeout, and the two of them would eat and drink in the studio. After eating, the leftover soup was left on the table. The ant who did the cleaning in the morning would help clean it up. The two of them continued working for an hour or two before going back. Sometimes after closing, around 11 o'clock, when two people hear something moving in the darkness of the exhibition hall outside, they will put down their pens, look at each other, and smile knowingly. At this time, they won't there is someone else, it must be Zhang Chen. When security patrols, they will turn on all the lights in the exhibition hall first, and then turn off the lights after the patrol. Only Zhang Chen, who does not turn on the lights, will walk here in the dark with the help of dim light. The two stood for a while, and sure enough, Zhang Chen's figure emerged from the darkness and appeared at the door of the studio. One of them was called brother-in-law and the other was called boss. Yao Fen was used to it and still called him brother-in-law. Zhang Chen is the boss. Zhang Chen came in, looked here and there, and told them, "You draw yours." The two of them continued to paint. Zhang Chen would sit in an armchair and watch them paint. Sometimes he couldn't help but stand up and look closer. He stared at the canvas for a while, then sat back and Xiaoshu handed the brush to him. To Zhang Chen, asked, "Would you like to have a good time?" Sometimes Zhang Chen shakes his head, and sometimes he takes the pen and starts drawing. However, he only paints for 2 or 3 minutes at most, and then returns the pen to the little tree. It's okay to just paint a few strokes and enjoy it. The most important thing when he comes here is to smell the smell of mixing oil and turpentine. This smell is what Zhang Chen misses the most. It can quickly take Zhang Chen away. It reminds me of the memory of painting tirelessly all night long when I was young. Zhang Chen himself is a painter. He knows that if there are traces of others on one of his works, it will be very awkward when you look at it. He and Xiaoshu are not the kind of people who like to cooperate with others. Even those painters who cooperate with each other actually paint their own paintings. For example, you paint the figure part, he paints the landscape part, and finally let the two independent parts put together. When Xiaoshu saw Zhang Chen, he would ask, "Is my sister on a business trip?" Zhang Chen nodded. If Xiao Fang was at home, Zhang Chen would usually not go out in the middle of the night. When Xiao Fang was not at home, he would often come over from home and sit with Xiaoshu and the others when he was alone at night. When it was time for supper, Xiaoshu would ask Zhang Chen what he wanted to eat and order more than usual. The three of them would sit in the studio, drinking and chatting until 2 or 3 in the morning. After that, Xiaoshu he and Yao Fen stopped working, and the three of them went downstairs together. Zhang Chen walked back, while Xiaoshu and Yao Fen left the car in the parking lot and took a taxi home. Sometimes, Xiaoshu and Yao Fen would accompany Zhang Chen home. The two of them continued walking along the Meisi River until they reached Jifang Road, and then took a taxi home. Xiaoshu put down the brush in his hand, and then Yao Fen also put down the brush. They heard light footsteps coming from the exhibition hall outside. Knowing that Zhang Chen was coming, Xiaoshu walked over and opened the glass door of the studio. A cloud of air conditioning rolled in from outside. The air conditioning in the exhibition hall outside was turned off when the exhibition hall was closed. The heating in the studio was sufficient, making it as warm as spring. Zhang Chen walked out of the darkness, and the little tree shouted, "Brother-in-law, is it cold outside?" Zhang Chen was right, it was very cold, as if it was going to snow. "My sister hasn't come back yet. It's still early, it will be next week." Zhang Chen walked into the studio, Xiaoshu closed the glass door, Zhang Chen took off his coat, Yao Fen took it and hung it on the coat rack. Xiaoshu brought Zhang Chen a cup of tea. Zhang Chen was warming his hands while holding the tea, while looking at the painting Xiaoshu was drawing today. After looking at the small tree, Zhang Chen turned to Yao Fen. What Yao Fen was painting today was still a combination painting. He placed Van Gogh's wheat field in a snowy field. The snowy scene in the background was a clear-in-snow landscape by the early painter Shi Tao. Yao Fen used oil paintings to present the artistic conception of Chinese painting. This is a very interesting combination, one Chinese and one Western. Van Gogh's wheat field seems to be igniting the snow field, while Shi Tao's heavy snow seems to be suppressing Van Gogh's arrogance. Copying wheat field is easy for Yao Fen, but it is not easy to use oil brushes to copy Chinese paintings, especially to show the ethereal temperament and the interest of pen and ink in Chinese paintings. Yao Fen pointed to the snowy field and said to Zhang Chen with a grimace, "I still feel stuffy there, and the smell of snow has not come out." Zhang Chen thought for a while and said to Yao Fen, "Try adding a little blue, add a little less." "Is this okay?" Yao Fen asked. "Try it," Zhang Chen said. Yao Fen added a little blue to the white oil paint and tried to paint again. Sure enough, the snowy field lit up where he started painting. Yao Fen exclaimed excitedly, "Yes, come out, boss, how do you know?" Xiaoshu also came over and looked at the canvas, his eyes lit up. Zhang Chen said with a smile, "When I was a child, my room was on the first floor, and there was Orange Mountain outside. When it snowed, when I opened my eyes in the morning, the room was bright, and the surrounding walls and ceilings all glowed with a light blue color. The light, so I know that snow is not actually white, it contains blue." If you go to see Pissarro, he handles it this way. Haha, it really comes from experience, Yao Fen said with a smile. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Xiang Nan. Zhang Chen was surprised. It was already past 11 o'clock in the evening. Why was Xiang Nan calling him? Zhang Chen picked up. Thank you, Brokeback Mountain, for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Uncle Wu, Zipanjiang 1, Hu, On the Road to a Nation, Book Friends 20220324185843375, and Book Friends 1604221916089959. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening, everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2297. Yao Fen and Zhang Chen are used to calling Zhang Chen boss. Zhang Xiangbei is used to calling Tan Shuhen aunt and Lu Ligan uncle. Xiang Nan is also used to calling Zhang Chen uncle. They have been calling Zhang Chen uncle since they were little. I can't change it? If I change the name, not only the person calling me, but also the person being called will feel a little awkward. In addition, at home, grandma is still grandma, grandpa is still grandpa, and grandparents are still grandparents. It seems that nothing has changed. When the call was connected, Zhang Chen asked, Xiang Nan, what's the matter? Uncle, have you contacted Zhang Xiangbei tonight? Xiang Nan asked anxiously. No, what's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. I can't contact him, no, not even Zhou Ruyi, Sun Xiang Yang, and Xiang Yun. No one can call him, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen laughed and said, I'm probably still working on the project. Hainan is different from us. It's ice and snow here, but it's still summer there. At this time, I might still be working overtime on the ranch. I know, uncle, but there is no signal in the ranch. I tried to find them on WeChat, but there was no response, saying they couldn't get through, Xiang Nan said. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment. Yes, even in the project, there will be no mobile phone signal there. Moreover, the network has been connected for a long time. Zhang Xiangbei and the others can already live broadcast there, and he and Gu Gong can also live broadcast. Know how many times the video was played? Zhang Chen thought for a moment and said, it's okay, Xiangnan. Maybe they went to Wuzishan on a whim to go exploring and camping or something. Maybe it doesn't matter which Li village they are in now. By the way, you have beaten Lao, is it packed? It's the same if I beat him, Xiang Nan said. That's for sure. It's okay. There are so many of them, and Bao Tianbin is so familiar with the local area. If something happened, someone would have called over long ago. They must be together in a place with no signal, in the mountains or at the seaside. Xiang Nan said oh, and felt that what Zhang Chen said made sense. She said goodbye, uncle, and hung up the phone. Zhang Chen held the cell phone, tilted his head and thought for a while. He dialed Gu Gong's number, and what sounded on the phone was the phone you dialed has been turned off. What's wrong with Nanan? Xiaoshu asked when he heard the call was from Xiangnan. Zhang Chen shook his head and said, it's nothing. I couldn't get through to Zhang Xiangbei, so he called me. Is Bai Bei okay? Yao Fen asked. It's okay, it's okay. There are a lot of them together. What can happen? If something happens, there will definitely be a call. The young people are together. They probably went into some ravine. There is no signal, Zhang Chen said. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen nodded. Although he said this, Zhang Chen also felt a little strange in his heart, especially since he couldn't even get through Gu Gong's phone call, which made Zhang Chen feel a little uneasy. Zhang Chen stood up and said to Xiaoshu, Yao Fen, you continue painting, I'll leave first. Yao Fen and Xiao Shu were stunned for a moment and looked at each other. Xiao Shu asked, "Brother-in-law, is there really nothing wrong with Bai Bei?" "It's okay, it's okay. There is a big group of people. They are all smart people. Don't worry about it." Zhang Chen waved his hand, took his coat, opened the door and went out. Zhang Chen walked to the Meisi River. The biting cold wind blew over, clearing his mind and tightening his heart. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. It was not as simple as he said. It's possible that they all went somewhere without signal, but in that case, the phone would ring with "the number you dialed is temporarily unavailable" instead of "the number you dialed has been turned off." The lights and shadows swaying along the Meisi River were all the shadows of the trees. Late in the winter, there was no one on the entire riverside. Even the stars in the sky and the moonlight falling on the water seemed to be frozen. Zhang Chen sat down on a terrazzo chair by the river. The coldness of the cement was still refreshing on his skin through the cashmere coat and layers of clothes, but Zhang Chen no longer felt it. He took out his mobile phone. "I called Zhang Xiangbei's number, but the phone was turned off. Then I called Gu Gong and Bao Tianbin, but they were also turned off." Zhang Chen then dialed Zhou Ruyi, Sun Xiangyang, Xiang Yun, and Ding Jianli. All the phones were turned off. Zhang Chen felt shuddering and his body was shaking uncontrollably. He tried hard to tell himself that it was okay, there were so many people, what could happen? The others are all children, not sensible. Isn't there Gu Gong? Gu Gong is thoughtful and thoughtful. If anything happens, he will definitely call me and tell me. The more Zhang Chen thought about it, the tighter his heart became and the more his body shivered. He sat there blankly, the wind blowing the leaves in front of and behind him, making bursts of rustling sounds. These sounds made him. My heart was broken little by little. Something must have happened, Zhang Chen told himself. He opened Zhang Xiangbei's WeChat and took a look. The latest update was at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the photos showed the cattle they had just shipped. Zhang Chen couldn't see any signs of trouble from WeChat. Open Gu Gong's WeChat and see the update from Huaxi, Gizhu more than a week ago. There was a bang sound, and something fell down somewhere in the darkness and hit the ground with a loud noise, which startled Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen wiped his forehead with his hand and couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was so cold. Despite the weather, sitting in the cold wind, his forehead was actually covered with sweat. And he didn't feel anything yet. Zhang Chen picked up the phone and found Lu Ligan. He wanted to call but resisted. At this time, waking up Lu Ligan also woke up Tan Shahen. Then, the whole world was not peaceful, and Hangzhou was forever. The city is full of panicked people. Zhang Chen sighed and just put down the phone. His heart trembled. He immediately picked up the phone. He thought of a person, Lao Tan who ran a restaurant in Kayangshong, and Lao Bao's comrade in arms. Zhang Chen immediately dialed the phone. The phone rang a few times and the call was connected. The first thing that came in was a noisy sound. Lao Tan was playing mahjong over there. Then, Lao Tan's voice broke through the air. "It's so rare, Mr. Zhang, hello. Hello, Lao Tan, have you seen Lao Bao and the others today?" Zhang Chen asked. "No, Lao Bao, Mr. Zhang and the others all had dinner at my place last night. I haven't seen them today," Lao Tan said. "What's the matter, Mr. Zhang?" Zhang Chen sighed and said, "I don't know what's wrong. They can't get through even a single phone call. Is there such a thing? Mr. Zhang, just wait." As Old Tan said, someone urged him to hurry up. Old Tan cursed. "You will die if you wait a minute. Didn't you see me answering the phone?" Lao Tan then dialed Lao Bao's number, and heard on the phone, "The phone you dialed has been turned off." Lao Tan pressed Lao Bao's phone number, but Zhang Chen's was still connected. Lao Tan said to Zhang Chen, "It's really like this, strange." Lao Tan stood up, and several other people shouted, "Lao Tan, Lao Tan, what the hell are you doing? No fight, I have something to do. Lao Tan walked out as he said this, and said to Jiang Chen as he walked. Mr. Jiang, wait a minute. I'll go to where they live and have a look. I'll call you when I get there. Jiang Chen quickly said yes, thank you for your hard work, Lao Tan. The office building and dormitories of Zhang Xiangbei and his ranch have not yet been built. They rented a 3-story house in Kayangshong County. The first floor is used as an office, and the second and third floors are used as dormitories. Zhang Xiangbei and other managers, they all live here, and the workers they recruit will be temporarily placed in the already built visitor center to make it easier for them to commute to get off work. Lao Tan rode his motorcycle and arrived at the building where Zhang Xiangbei and his friends lived. In front of the building was a small street. Lao Tan could see from a distance that the whole building was dark, whether it was the office downstairs or the dormitory upstairs. No one. Lao Tan knocked on 2 dark doors on the first floor, then ran to the second and third floors and knocked on the doors of Zhang Xiangbei and Lao Bao. It was quiet inside. Lao Tan picked up the phone and called Jiang Chen. The phone rang and was picked up. Jiang Chen asked urgently on the phone. How's it going, Lao Tan? No one, there's no one here, Lao Tan said. Don't worry, Mr. Jiang, don't worry, I'll go to the farm right away to check. They might be working overtime there. Jiang Chen couldn't say anything else except thank you. Jiang Chen wanted to stand up, but felt that his legs were so weak that he couldn't stand up. He could only continue to sit. A figure came towards him in the darkness. Jiang Chen quickly turned sideways and turned his back to him. But the black shadow rang out and asked. Brother-in-law, brother-in-law, is that you? Jiang Chen turned around and said, It's me, Xiaoshu, why are you here? Xiaoshu walked a few steps quickly and walked up to him. Xiaoshu said, I'm not worried. Come and have a look. Brother-in-law, what's wrong with Baibei? Jiang Chen shook his head and said, I don't know either, Xiaoshu, I have called him all the time, but I just can't contact him. It's okay, brother-in-law. For a man as big as Baibei, you forget that even if 2 or 3 people hit him, they can't beat him. He will be fine for sure. What will happen if Fatty and the others are together? Xiaoshu in turn, he comforted Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen sighed and said, I hope so, Xiaoshu, I was just thinking, if something happens to Zhang Xiangbei, how will I explain it to your sister? I won't even dare to go home. Xiaoshu knew that the sister Jiang Chen was talking about at this time was not Xiao Fang, who was far away in the United States, but Xiao Zhao, who had been in the study upstairs. Xiaoshu sat down next to Jiang Chen. He took out his cigarettes, smoked 2 of them, put them in his mouth, lit them, and gave one to Jiang Chen, who took it. Xiaoshu said, No, brother-in-law, my sister will protect Baibei, don't worry. The 2 people sat there, with the biting wind blowing in front of and behind them. The 2 people were silent, finishing one cigarette and then another, until Jiang Chen's phone rang. It was Lao Tan again. Lao Tan had already arrived at the ranch. He said to Jiang Chen. Both Lao Bao and Mr. Jiang are not here, but don't worry, Mr. Jiang. I have already inquired. Someone here told me that they all went to hiking in the evening. Haha, Mr. Jiang, these guys, I must have been suffocating in this ravine, and I went to hiking sauna. Don't turn off your sauna phone, haha, Mr. Jiang, it's a false alarm. Jiang Chen laughed twice. He felt bitter in his mouth. He didn't believe that Zhang Xiangbei would go to that kind of place. Even if Zhang Xiangbei could go, he wouldn't be so big-hearted as to take Zhou Ruyi and Xiang Yun with him. Jiang Chen immediately rejected this possibility in his heart. By the way, Mr. Jiang, do you want me to go to hiking to find them? I know which sauna this bastard Lao Bao usually goes to, Lao Tan said. Jiang Chen quickly said, No, Lao Tan, I will feel relieved knowing they are going to hiken. Thank you. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen's heart became very heavy. Knowing that Zhang Xiangbei and the others were going to hiken, his heart became even heavier. If they went to Wuzishan as he guessed, Zhang Chen could rest assured. No, they went to hiken. In hiken, there was no place and no need to turn off all their mobile phones. No, brother-in-law, Bai Bei is not that kind of person, he will not go to that kind of place, Xiaoshu said from the side. Zhang Chen nodded, I know. Thank you hoo. Extraordinary Life 502, Yunlong Frogfish, and Book Friends 201802241122201712 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the reading and votes. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2298. Zhang Chen felt himself become hard as a sculpture by the river, as hard as if he was welded to the terrazzo chair and became one with it. He calmed himself down. He felt that he was calm enough. It was as cold as the wind and as quiet as the winter night sky above his head. Just as he often boasts and warns himself, no matter what happens, he must first imagine the worst result. Only after imagining the worst result can he face it when the result really comes. Zhang Chen said to Xiaoshu, you go back, Xiaoshu, I will sit here for a while. The little tree didn't move or get up. He still sat there and smoked silently. He was like another statue by the river. Zhang Chen picked up his mobile phone and called Lao Xie. Lao Xie had already gone to bed. He got up immediately after receiving Zhang Chen's call. He said, I'll go look for it. I probably know some of the places Xiaobao used to go. I'll go to these places first. Thank you, Mr. Xie, for your hard work, Zhang Chen said. Why are you thankful? Bai Bei is not one of my own, Lao Xie said. Mr. Zhang, don't worry. Hainan now is not as chaotic as when we came here, so nothing will happen. Zhang Chen said, okay, I'm not worried. Lao Xie was about to hang up the phone when Zhang Chen said, Mr. Xie, can you go to the hospital and see if there have been any large-scale car accidents near Hiken during the evening and whether anyone has been sent here for rescue? Lao Xie was stunned for a moment, and then he said, yes, I will first call the 120 emergency center to ask if there is any emergency today, and then I will go to several major hospitals to check. If it is really, I will ask them to do everything possible to rescue him. Zhang Chen said, yes, thank you. Zhang Chen hung up the phone, Xiaoshu handed over a lit cigarette, and Zhang Chen took it. It's impossible, brother-in-law, Xiaoshu said, even in the situation you mentioned, it's impossible for all the calls to go unreachable. At most, no one will answer. Even if they don't go through, it means they can't be connected, and it won't be turned off. Xiaoshu said, feeling timid himself, and said, it's right to go to the hospital first, just in case. You're right, brother-in-law, there's a difference between someone being there during the rescue and not being there. Zhang Chen didn't say anything. He was thinking about whether to call the general manager of the Hainan branch of food and drink and ask him to mobilize people to conduct a search all over the city. Zhang Chen thought for a while and rejected his idea. He didn't know anything yet, so he couldn't make a big fuss and mobilize them. They didn't know Zhang Xiangbei and Lao Bao. Zhang Chen could only send photos to let them hold their mobile phones and compare photos to find people. That would make too much noise and is unnecessary. The most important thing is that if nothing happens, or if Zhang Xiangbei is found in that place, how embarrassing it will be for Zhang Xiangbei, and the people who are looking for him will not care about it. If anyone can shut their mouths, they might just treat this as news and forward it to their circle of friends tonight. The son of the owner of food and drink, a rich second generation, used the money from selling fresh food for home delivery to spend his time in Hainan, drinking and visiting pornographic places, and so on. There are pictures that reveal the truth. This news may become popular in one night. All over the circle of friends. It's better to wait. Zhang Chen felt that since it was handed over to Lao Xie would be sensible. He really needed people. Lao Xie also had people under his command. Those people all knew Bao Tianbin. Lao Xie knew what to do. Time passed little by little. Zhang Chen sat there and looked at the Meisi River in front of him. After the bright lights on the bank were extinguished, the Meisi River became dull, like a deep black ravine. It sucks in everything that comes toward it and spits it out again, letting everything float on the surface. Those stars and obscure moonlight, those intertwined shadows of trees on the water and the shadows of surrounding buildings. A certain house still has a light on, and where it is lit, there are ripples in the water. Stack this bit of light into it. Zhang Chen stared at that place, with a spark of fireworks hanging from his mouth, and the fireworks were clearly extinguished. That place was finally extinguished, and the water waves were folded into the darkness. The fireworks on the lips were burned to the end, and a new cigarette came over. The old fire connected with the new fire. The old fire was extinguished, and cigarette butts fell around them. A piece of white, like petals falling from their bodies. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang suddenly, and both of them were startled. Zhang Chen picked up the cell phone and looked at it, and jumped up from his chair in shock. Zhang Chen shouted. "Fat man, it's Fat Man calling. Hurry up, Xiaoshu also shouted urgently. Zhang Chen hurriedly pressed the button. In desperation, he pressed the wrong button and hung up the phone. He hurriedly dialed and saw a busy signal from the other party. Zhang Chen knew it was the Fat Man who was also redialing, so he hurriedly hung up the phone. Sure enough, the ringtone sounded. It rang again. Zhang Chen picked it up and asked. "Fat Man, where are you?" Uncle Sun Xiangyang lowered his voice and said, "Uncle, we are at the Longhai police station in Haikan. The brothers here knew that I was also a policeman, so they asked me to make this call." "At the police station, why?" Zhang Chen asked. "A fight," Sun Xiangyang said. "Uncle, don't worry, Zhang Xiangbei and we are both fine. The other party was knocked down several times." Hey, it's almost done," brother Zhang Chen heard someone say from behind, followed by Sun Xianjiang's voice, "Okay, I'll be ready soon." Sun Xiangyang turned around and continued to talk to Zhang Chen. "Uncle, I can't say anything anymore. It's at Longhai police station, Longhai." "Okay, I understand," Fatty Zhang Chen said quickly, and the phone was hung up. Zhang Chen let out a long breath. He and Xiaoshu almost laughed. Although the police station was not a good place, it was the safest place for them at this time. The little fat guy is quite clever and knows how to find opportunities to tip off the news. Zhang Chen smiled, and Xiaoshu also laughed. When it comes to fights, once you enter the police station, the first thing you do is to find connections and try to prevent the incident from tilting to your disadvantage. This is the most important thing. As for whether someone was injured or sent to the hospital, how the injury is, that's a matter of compensation later. It's not a big deal, as long as no one is killed and there are no injuries, money can't settle it. After all, Sun Xiangyang had been a policeman and knew how to direct the call for help to the most useful person at this time. Zhang Chen immediately dialed Lao Xie's phone number and told him that the man was found at the Longhai police station. There seemed to be a fight. Okay, I understand, Mr. Zhang, I'm going to find someone and go there right away, Lao Xie said on the phone. After hanging up the phone, both Zhang Chen and Xiaoshu laughed, and Zhang Chen cursed. "You little brat, you've learned how to fight." Xiaoshu said, "Don't worry, if there is a fight, Bai Bei will not suffer." Next, there was nothing else to do except wait for Lao Xie's call. Zhang Chen knew that he would not be able to fall asleep even if he went back, including Xiaoshu. There would be no results tonight and it would be impossible to leave him. Zhang Chen stood up. Only then did I feel that my whole body was freezing. Zhang Chen said, let's go to the studio, it's almost freezing here. Xiaoshu said okay and stood up. The two of them walked back to the Riverside oil painting gallery and saw that Yao Fen was not upstairs, but waiting for them at the security guard downstairs. Zhang Chen and Xiaoshu both ran out. Yao Fen was also anxious. She was in the studio. After waiting for a while, Xiaoshu didn't come back. Yao Fen walked to the security room downstairs. She didn't know where Zhang Chen and Xiaoshu had gone. She wanted to visit Zhang Chen's house, but it was late at night outside. If she wanted to go there, she would have to cross the road by the Meisi River. Road. Yao Fen was chatting with the security guard on duty. She had already agreed with the security guard that when the two security guards who went upstairs to patrol came back, the security guard would accompany her to Zhang Chen's house. The two of them were waiting when they saw Zhang Chen. Chen and Xiaoshu are back. The three of them went upstairs to the studio. Xiaoshu picked up the phone and asked Zhang Chen, "Are you hungry, brother-in-law?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "I'm really hungry. I've been tortured by this guy Zhang Xiangbei this night." Xiaoshu and Yao Fen looked at each other and laughed. The three of them were eating and drinking. At about 2 o'clock in the morning, Lao Xie called and told Zhang Chen that he had seen Bai Bei and was fine. "Why are they fighting?" Zhang Chen asked. "I'll talk about the details tomorrow. It seems that I was in a nightclub to celebrate a girl's birthday. As a result, I got into a conflict with a bunch of bad guys in the booth next door and got into a fight. Fortunately, Bai Bei and the others didn't suffer. There were two of them being raped. They were sent to the hospital. One of them was determined to have a broken nose, and the condition of the other one is not known yet, but what is certain is that none of them are life-threatening." "Is this important?" Zhang Chen asked. "In matters like this, nowadays, there is no distinction between right and wrong. When it comes to fighting, what is right or wrong depends on who is seriously injured. In the end, it is determined by the severity of the injury. Generally, you will pay some money, and the other party will not pursue it." "The two parties settled the matter through mediation and compensation," Lao Xie said. Zhang Chen breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Thank you, Mr. Xie. This guy Zhang Xiangbei got into trouble, and he still needs you to wipe his ass." "Hey, it's a small thing," Lao Xie said with a smile. "You are young and energetic. Who hasn't had a fight when you were young? The person who accompanied me is a friend of their instructor. There is nothing we can do tonight. Bai Bei and the others can only eat here. It's hard to wait until tomorrow for the official appraisal results to come out, but I've already asked him to take care of it. He deserves it, and he deserves to endure hardship," Zhang Chen said. "Let him have a long memory." "Not bad, Mr. Zhang." Lao Xie laughed on the phone, and Zhang Chen asked, "What's wrong?" "Here at the police station," he said that he had never seen such a person. The other people who were fighting were all bragging outside. As soon as they entered here, they all absolved themselves of the responsibility, saying that they didn't do it, they were just on the side. Look, Bai Bei and the others all take responsibility for themselves. They all say that the fat guy on the other side punched him in the nose. If he wants to be detained, then he will be detained. Two women, even the fat middle-aged man, said this. It's really rare. Haha, Mr. Zhang, these are the police's exact words. Zhang Chen also laughed and said, "It's not bad. Are you all quite loyal?" "That's right, Mr. Zhang, I will go find someone tomorrow morning and try to smooth this matter over as soon as possible. The main thing is that Bai Bei should not have any records, otherwise there will be trouble in and out of the country in the future," Lao Xie said. Zhang Chen said, "Okay, thank you, Mr. Xie. By the way, Mr. Xie, don't talk to Director Tan about this." I know, I don't want her to know that I have such a brave son-in-law," Lao Xie interrupted Zhang Chen and hung up the phone with a smile. Thank you Brokeback Mountain for the reward of 2 fishes. Thank you for your monthly votes from Fengkonghu 1974, Zhao 1017, Zhongxin Ming Chen, Jinwu Lanji, Little Gatekeeper, Tamagotchi, I Love Purple, Shachin Mood, Book Friends 20220324185843375. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2299. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Chen lowered his head and thought for a while. He and Xiaoshu said, I still have to go to Hiken tomorrow. Your sister hasn't come back. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen, you should go home for dinner tomorrow night. If the old people ask about it, just tell them that I will help Bei. Bei designs something. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen both agreed, and Xiaoshu asked, Mr. Xie said that there is no big problem and it can be solved tomorrow. Brother-in-law, why are you still going to do it? Zhang Chen said, solving this kind of thing requires money. If you hurt someone, if you don't want them to pursue the case, you don't need to say good things to them. How much should you pay them? You can't let Lao Xie help and pay for it. Yes, if Zhang Xiangbei gives it to him, Lao Xie will definitely not take it. I am also worried that with Zhang Xiangbei's temper, if he thinks he is justified, he will not even pay the money. If you are aggressive and make the other party angry, an injury assessment must be done and you must be held criminally responsible. Even the police will not be able to do anything. Xiaoshu nodded, and Zhang Chen continued. Besides, I have to teach them a lesson. How old are Zhang Xiangbei and Gu Gong? When things happen, no one is calm. When it comes to fights, if there is one person in a group who is calm, at one point, we can't even try to persuade people to make peace. It's so old. If you are still fighting and killing people outside, aren't you bringing trouble to yourself? Xiaoshu thinks Zhang Chen's words make sense. Especially in other places, this kind of thing should be avoided as much as possible, otherwise the family will worry to death. And these words are useless for others to say. There are really it would only work if Zhang Chen went to talk to him. The 3 of them went downstairs. Xiaoshu and Yao Fen accompanied Zhang Chen to the door of the house. The 3 of them said goodbye to each other. After taking a shower and lying on the bed, Zhang Chen picked up his phone and looked at it. After dawn, the earliest flight from Hangzhou to Hiken was at 8:20 a.m. If he took this flight, he would be there at 6:30 at the latest. To start from home, Lu Ligan and Tan Shuhen hadn't gotten up yet, and they didn't know if Xiangnan called them last night. Besides, if the 4 old people wake up early in the morning and find that Zhang Chen has gone away without a word, they will definitely have a lot of thoughts. If they meet Tan Shuhen again and hear that Zhang Xiangbei was nowhere to be found last night, then what? Don't make a mess. Zhang Chen felt that he could talk to Lu Ligan about this matter, but not to Tan Shuhen. Once he told Tan Shuhen, several old people would know that she did not know how to lie in front of them, and Tan Shuhen might be the first to tell it to her. I was panicking, knowing that Zhang Xiangbei and the others were still at the police station, and the situation was unclear, so there would still be chaos here. The other flights from Hangcheng to Hiken were all afternoon. Zhang Chen thought to himself that he would let Lao Xie handle things there in the morning. When he arrived, he was still in the way. It would be a good time to meet them in Hiken in the afternoon. Zhang Chen chose the earliest flight at noon, the Hainan Airlines flight at 12:10, so that when he arrived in Hiken, from Hiken Airport to the city, it happened to be just before 4 p.m. at this time. For Hiken people, it hasn't been long since people woke up from their nap, and the afternoon has just begun. After making up his mind, Zhang Chen booked the flight tickets, set the alarm on his mobile phone, and went to sleep. When Zhang Chen went downstairs to have breakfast, Lu Ligan and Tan Shuhen were there, and his mother and Xiaofang's mother had just returned from seeing off Zhang Xiangzi and Lu Wenqian. Lu Wenqian was not old enough to go to kindergarten. Tan Shahan said that it would only be beneficial to go to school earlier. At worst, she would have to go to school for an extra year. Besides, if she goes to school now, she will have a companion with Zhang Xiangzi in kindergarten, and Zhang Xiangzi can still take her with her. Otherwise, by the time Lu Wenqian goes to kindergarten next year, Zhang Xiangzi will already be in elementary school. Tan Shahan used connections to send Lu Wenqian to the public kindergarten where Zhang Xiangzi was studying early. Zhang Chen sat down to have breakfast and deliberately pretended to be understated and told them that I was going to Haikan at noon. Why are you going to Haikan? Lu Ligan asked. Zhang Chen said, Zhang Xiangbei wants to add 2 open-air hot springs. He asked me to help him select the site, design it, and enrich it. Lu Ligan kept nodding, but there was no reaction on Tan Shahan's face. Zhang Chen felt relieved. He felt that Xiang Nan probably didn't call Tan Shahan yesterday. Oh, why didn't you tell me earlier? Wait a minute. There will be 2 pieces of bacon and dried fish later. You can bring them to Bai Bei. He likes to eat. In Hainan, you can bring bacon. Stewed salted fish and stir-fried dried fish with chili peppers are delicious, Zhang Chen's mother said from the side. Don't worry about this, Zhang Chen said. Where is Gu Gong? You are still worried that Zhang Xiangbei has nothing to eat? I'm afraid they have more food than you have here. Zhang Chen's mother was discouraged when she heard about Gu Gong. She knew that the food he made was delicious. She looked at Xiaofang's mother and said, Where is Teacher Gu? Oh, what should we bring to Bai Bei? When Xiaofang's mother heard about Gu Gong, she also frowned. She knew that she had met a tough opponent. No matter what dish she cooked, she couldn't compare with Gu Gong. There were many, so they still learned from Gu Gong. How could this be good? Zhang Chen was so happy when he saw them. He said, Don't bring anything. I'm too lazy to bring it and I don't have anywhere to put it. I'll just bring a small bag. I'll go there today and come back tomorrow. Zhang Chen's mother had no choice but to give up after hearing what Zhang Chen said. After breakfast, Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan said, I won't drive today. I'll take your car to the company. Will you take me to the airport later? Lu Ligan said yes. The 2 of them went out and just got in the car when Zhang Chen's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Xiang Nan. Zhang Chen held the cell phone but did not answer it. He thought for a moment and said to Lu Ligan, Call to the south. Lu Ligan said, Then you take it? Zhizi, no matter what you hear later, don't interrupt. Just shut up. If you have anything to say, wait until I finish the call. Zhang Chen said that Lu Ligan looked at him sideways, as if he were a monster. Zhang Chen picked up the phone and said anxiously to Nan, Uncle, why are they still unable to get through all their calls today? Zhang Chen asked, Xiang Nan, are you driving now? No, I'm already in the office, Xiang Nan said. Okay, Xiang Nan, listen to me slowly and don't get excited. Fatty called me after yesterday. They are all at the police station in Haikan, Zhang Chen said. Xiang Nan exclaimed, Police station? What did they do? Zhang Chen told Xiang Nan everything he knew. He repeatedly told Xiang Nan, It's okay, it's okay. Xiang Nan, don't worry. Your uncle Xia has already gone to the police station last night and met all of them. They are fine and very happy. This morning, right now, your uncle Xia should have gone to find someone. I will take the flight at noon today. Haikan, I'll call you when I get to Haikan. Zhang Chen said, and Xiang Nan breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Chen hung up the phone and looked at Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan kept driving quietly without saying a word. Zhang Chen felt a little strange and asked, Hey, Zhang Xiangbei entered the police station. How come you, my father-in-law, didn't react at all? What reaction do you want? Lu Ligan said, Isn't it just a fight? What's there to make a fuss about? Didn't I hear you say before that Bai Bei and the others didn't suffer, but the other party suffered, so that's fine. If Bai Bei encounters something and can't get out his fists, like Erwu did, that's what we have to worry about. Zhang Chen burst out laughing when he heard this. Erwu was a boxer from Yongcheng. He was a martial artist who practiced martial arts since he was a child, dancing with spears, wielding sticks, and boxing. He was pretty good at it and won a bronze medal in Tiangang boxing in the Zhejiang provincial wushu competition. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were all familiar with them, and they were about the same age. This guy is very famous in Yongcheng, not because he is good at boxing, but because he is famous for being unable to punch. No matter how big things happen, or when he gets into an argument with someone, he always gets a stiff neck, exposed veins on his face, and his face becomes red. His hands were red, his hands were clenched tightly, his knuckles were cracking, and his whole body was shaking. He shouted at people. "What did you say? Say it again if you dare." But don't worry, for him, this has reached its peak. Even if the person opposite him says the same thing 10 times, his fists won't be able to come out, which makes the people watching the fun on the side even more anxious than he is. He and Xiao Wu are completely different types of people. When people in Yongcheng talk about Erwu, they are almost synonymous with embroidered pillows. "I'll go with you," Lu Lizan said suddenly. "What?" Zhang Chen asked, "what are you going to do?" "Go handle things." "If you can't handle this kind of thing, you still need me to go," Lu Ligan said. "Get lost," Zhang Chen scolded, "how big of a deal can I handle it? Besides, Lao Xie is already handling it. I just want to teach Zhang Xiangbei a lesson and say a few words to Gu Gong. It's such a big deal. He is a doctor from Fudan University and is as excited as a young man when something happens." Zhang Chen laughed as he spoke. He said, "Yesterday at the police station, Lao Xie told me that even Gu Gong was rushing to take the blame. He said that he was the one who punched the man who broke his nose. I didn't need to watch the surveillance. I know, Zhang Xiangbei must have been the one to fight. How about it, Zhang Xiangbei has so many dead soldiers, isn't it easy? He has the skills to control them." Lu Ligan shook his head and said, "I'm afraid you may oversimplify things." "What's wrong?" Zhang Chen asked. "Heiken, you don't know yet. If you have people, others might also have people. Heiken is not a big city, but there are many bastards in Chaiqian. It's not like you only found out today," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen was stunned for a moment, and after a while, he said, "It's okay. If it doesn't work, I'll go find Xiao Zheng. You'd better stay here. If you leave suddenly, there are a few old people here in Tanshahen. They think something big has happened. They're very verbose. You'd better give it to me. Hold the battle here." Xiao Zheng turned out to be Lao Tan's subordinate. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan had met him many times and were already very familiar with him. After Xiao Zheng changed careers, he is now the deputy director of a certain department. Lu Ligan said, "Okay, I understand, but don't lose face. If you know, if it doesn't work, go to Xiao Zheng. Xiao Zheng can work. If you are embarrassed, just call me." I asked Lao Tan to call Xiao Zheng. "I know, it's so long-winded," Zhang Chen cursed. Zhang Chen arrived at the office and arranged things in the company. At 10 o'clock, Lu Li came up and told Zhang Chen, "Let's go, it's almost time." Lu Ligan sent Zhang Chen to the airport. He kept complaining all the way, saying that Zhang Chen was a pig and didn't know what he was thinking. Why didn't he call him last night to discuss today? I thought about it, no matter what, it's best for me to go to Hainan and you wait at home, Lu Ligan said. When he arrived at the departure hall, Lu Ligan pulled over and said, "Just call me and let me know what happens when you get there." "Do you know?" Zhang Chen glared at Lu Li, "When did you become so damn verbose? That can't be helped. Your son is not only your son, but also my son-in-law Lu Ligan said. Get out, Zhang Chen cursed, pushed open the car door and got out. Behind him, Lu Ligan's burst of laughter chased him. Zhang Chen walked to the door of the departure hall and turned around to look. Lu Ligan was driving the car, already in high gear. And go. Thank you to Lao Chen Tang, Hu, Shachen Mood, 4 + 1 = 5, Book Friend 1505161323363992, and Book Friend 2020091001082763 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2300. Zhang Chen was sitting in the airport VIP lounge when a young waitress came over and asked, "Sir, do you want coffee, tea, or a drink?" Zhang Chen talks about tea. The waiter came over with a cup of tea and 2 plates of snacks. He first placed a cardboard coaster on the table, then put the tea on the coaster. Then he put down the 2 plates of snacks and smiled slightly at Zhang Chen. "Sir, please use it slowly." Zhang Chen said thank you. Zhang Chen sat there drinking tea and took out his mobile phone. He looked at the WeChat messages of Zhang Xiangbei and Gu Gong. Neither of their friends' circles were updated. He tried calling their mobile phones, but they were both turned off. It means that they haven't come out yet, and they should still be at the police station. If they come out, Zhang Xiangbei will turn on his cell phone immediately and call Xiang Nan. He still understands this. Zhang Chen put down his mobile phone and sat there bored. When the waiter saw Zhang Chen sitting blankly, she took a stack of magazines from the newspaper rack, came over, and gently placed them on the table in front of Zhang Chen. He retreated silently. Zhang Chen casually picked up a magazine and flipped through it. There was nothing to read. He put it down and looked at a few other magazines. They were all about the same, either financial or fashion. They probably thought that the guests who could sit here with the tastes should be similar, but Zhang Chen wasn't interested in them and didn't look through them again. He picked up the cup, took the cardboard coaster, stood it up, and twisted his fingers, trying to make the coaster spin in a circle, but the coaster was too light and fell down before it could complete a circle. The front of the coaster was printed with HNA's logo, and the back was white. On a whim, Zhang Chen took out a sketch pen from his bag and started drawing on the back of the coaster. After so many years, Zhang Chen has been accustomed to using his own sketch pen, that is, taking a pen, holding the tip of the pen with needle nose pliers, and carefully bending the tip. Such a sketch pen is easy to use and falls on the lines on the paper can be thick or thin. When you turn it sideways and scrape the paper, it has the effect of an oil painting scraper scraping across the cloth. Zhang Chen looked at this round coaster and wanted to draw a person's head. He almost immediately thought of it, drawing a Hemingway. When Zhang Chen was young, he painted Lu Xun, Gorky, etc. for the Yongcheng Library. Rabindranath Tagore and Einstein also painted Hemingway. Hemingway was one of the few Western modernist writers who could be seen in China at that time. There is another one, who is holding a pipe and wearing a pair of glasses. The eyes behind the glasses look aloofly at the French existentialist writer Sartre outside the screen. When Zhang Chen painted Hemingway, the portrait he referred to was the photo in the volume of Encyclopedia of China, Foreign Literature collected in Yongcheng Library. Hemingway was wearing a turtleneck sweater, with a round face, and his thick trademark beard makes his face appear rounder. It's just right to draw such a round face and a big beard on this round coaster, or you can draw Li Kuei or Zhang Fei. Or Hemingway. There is no rule, but almost all painters like to start from the eyes when drawing portraits, probably because the eyes are the most expressive. Once the eyes are drawn well, the eyes themselves can lead and inspire. As you continue to draw, Your eyes can bring out the spirit of the whole person, and the atmosphere on the paper will be there. Zhang Chen drew Hemingway's eyes based on his memory. He found that the eyes of Hemingway, who looked like Li Kuei and Zhang Fei, were actually very peaceful, even a little naughty. Zhang Chen thought for a while, but he couldn't help it. Memory Caspian Hemingway's eyes just gave him this feeling. This was unmistakable. Probably for this reason, although Hemingway went to the battlefield, he could not become Patton. He could only become a writer and write novels such as A Farewell to Arms. Zhang Chen remembers that he was looking at Hemingway's information and was attracted by the title of Farewell to Arms. He went to the library's library to look for the book, but couldn't find it. The old librarian saw it and asked him what he was looking for. Zhang Chen said, "Do you not have Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms here?" "Yes, come with me." The old curator led him through rows of bookshelves, and finally walked to a bookshelf, reached out and pulled out a book from the shelf, handed it to him, and told him, "This is it." Zhang Chen took it over and took a look. The title of the book was Battlefield Dreams. The lower half of the cover was black, with woodcut silhouettes of battlefields and barbed wire. The upper half had a green background, with a white woodcut portrait of a woman embedded in it. Zhang Chen looked at the old curator in confusion, "Meaning you lied to me?" "I'm not lying to you. I read this book when I was young and in college. It was very good." Hemingway also had a book called For Whom the Bell Tolls, which at that time was translated into The Bell Tolls. The old curator said to Zhang Chen. When the old curator was young, it was before liberation. The university he studied at was Henan University. Whether it was Battlefield Dreams or Battlefield Bells, Zhang Chen felt that the translation of this title was too vulgar, and it was nowhere as exciting as A Farewell to Arms and For Whom the Bell Tolls. Later, Zhang Chen went to Hainan, rented video cassettes in a video store, and saw the Hollywood movie Battlefield Dreams. Only then did he realize that the translation of the book title was to match the movie, probably to sell the book. Sure enough, later I saw the Hollywood movie The Bell Tolls, starring Ingrid Bergman. Hemingway wrote a lot of tough guys, and people have always mistakenly thought that Hemingway himself was also a tough guy. Although in some records, he also looked like a tough guy. Zhang Chen had read Miro's memoirs. Miro recalled that he was a tough guy just after World War II. The first time he met Hemingway was at the apartment of his fellow Spanish artist Picasso in Paris. That day, Picasso was imparting experience to Miro, teaching him how to use all kinds of tricks to raise his own value and deal with the art dealers in Paris. Unannounced, a Yankee suddenly burst in from outside the door. He claimed to be the writer Hemingway. He placed a box on the table with a bang. It was a gift he had brought to Picasso. It was not wine or wine. It was not food, but a box of German-made hand grenades. Picasso's face turned green with fright, and he pretended to be calm. Miro was already trembling with fear. Although there are legends like this and Hemingway is regarded as a tough guy, Zhang Chen always feels that Hemingway is a pessimistic person, not a tough guy. If he was a tough guy, he would not kill himself with a shotgun in Havana, Cuba. Blast off. Death is the ultimate hiding place for people. Hemingway could not stand the pain or the boredom of this noisy world. He completely avoided it. He was not like the old fisherman in The Old Man and the Sea. Was defeated. Zhang Chen drew Hemingway's hair. His hair was soft and golden, as soft as sheep's wool. It didn't stand upright like a hedgehog. Then draw his lips. His lips hidden under the mustache are very thin, like an old lady. Zhang Chen couldn't help but smile. He once watched Taiwanese TV. When Taiwanese historical writer Wang Feng talked about Chiang Kai-shek, he called old Chiang Kai-shek Mr. Jiang and said, "If you look at Mr. Jiang's photo, his face is the combination of a strict father and a loving mother. The upper part is the strict father and the lower half is the loving mother." Zhang Chen found a photo of Chiang Kai-shek when he was young and covered the lower part with a book. He really saw a pair of majestic eyes. When he covered the upper part, what he saw was a flat picture. The mouth is like an old lady's thin, flat mouth, with the corners of the mouth raised. Hemingway's beard from his chin to his ears was well trimmed and neat, like an open folding fan. Zhang Chen thought to himself that he would sit in front of the mirror every day and spend a lot of time and carefully trim himself like a woman putting on makeup. How can a man with a beard be a tough guy? Zhang Chen finished drawing the beard, and finally drew the turtleneck sweater. With a few arcs, the sweater was outlined. The waiter came over and said softly to Zhang Chen, "Sir, you can board the plane." Then he couldn't help but sigh, "The painting is so good." Zhang Chen smiled, picked up the coaster and said to the waiter, "It's for you." "Really, great," the waiter called softly, and then thought again, "Sir, you haven't signed yet." Zhang Chen smiled again, agreed, and signed his name. The waiter held the coaster and murmured, "Zhang Chen? Isn't he famous? He seems to be famous. I've seen it." Zhang Chen laughed loudly and said, "You can find out by Baidu." There were not many people riding in the overhead cabin today. There were only 3 people in the minibus, including Zhang Chen. The car drove to the gangway and stopped. Zhang Chen got on the plane, sat down on his seat, waited for the shuttle bus, and took the economy class seat at the back. The guests brought it over. Zhang Chen's cell phone rang. He looked at it and saw that it was Lao Xie. Zhang Chen quickly picked it up. Lao Xie said, "Mr. Zhang, things are a bit troublesome. Bai Bei's case has been taken over by the branch. The police station can no longer make the decision." Zhang Chen's heart trembled. Lu Ligan really hit the target, this crow's mouth. "How could this happen?" Zhang Chen said. "There is another person. The result of today's examination is that his spleen is injured. This is not the main thing. The main thing is the guy whose nose was broken. He has some background in the family. He wants to be held accountable," Lao Xie said. "What's the background?" Zhang Chen asked. "I'm still checking. In addition, I have someone contact Director Fu of their branch. Director Fu means that it is best for the parents of Bai Bei to come and meet the parents of both parties. This matter will be easier to handle," Lao Xie explained. "Okay, Mr. Xie, I was planning to come here today. I'm already on the plane now," Zhang Chen said. "Great, Mr. Zhang, then you send me the flight and I will pick you up at the airport. We will meet and talk later," Lao Xie said. Zhang Chen said yes. The shuttle bus had arrived, economy class passengers began to board the plane, and the cabin suddenly became lively. Zhang Chen sent his flight information to Lao Xie, turned off his phone, leaned back, and let out a long sigh. "Thank you, Brokeback Mountain, 2 fishes one at a time, and Liang Liang for the reward." "Thank you, okay. I don't want it." On the road Tianation, Zipanjiang 1, Purple Ha, Yunlong Frogfish, Void Broken Dream, Book Friends 201908081511277738 monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 2301. Zhang Chen walked toward the exit. From a distance, he saw Lao Xie standing outside the exit waiting for him. Zhang Chen raised his hand and waved, then hurriedly walked that way. "Where is your luggage?" Lao Xie asked. Zhang Chen patted his satchel and said, "I don't have any luggage, so I brought this." "Okay, let's talk as we walk," Lao Xie said. The 2 people walked towards the parking lot. Lao Xie and Zhang Chen said, "The identities of those people are clear. The leader is the one with the broken nose. Others call him Young Master. This guy leads a group of people. I go to nightclubs every day, I am in my 30s, and I don't have a home." "Master? What's your background?" Zhang Chen asked. Actually, he is not a real son. He was originally the head of the petrochemical system in Hainan. He was still somewhat famous at the time. However, it has been almost 10 years since he retired. His son is still using his name as a capable person. Those who help people do this and that are actually talking nonsense, and the gangsters below follow him, pretending to be powerful and showing off everywhere, but in fact they can't get anything done. Lao Xie said to Zhang Chen. Is he a liar? Zhang Chen asked. It's hard to say. He's not so blatant that he dares to take people's money. When he meets someone who asks for help, the people below will take him to the nightclub and blow up the energy of the gongzi. The person will definitely look at it. You will help them pay the bill, but if it doesn't work out, they can't do anything about it. They say you paid the bill yourself, so what can you do? Zhang Chen scolded, it's really despicable. Yes, that's right, Lao Xie said. Is there still room for this kind of person? Zhang Chen was puzzled. There is not only space for this kind of people, but also a market. None of the guys who go to nightclubs every day have serious jobs. What's even worse, the one with an injured spleen is pretending to be a rich man in nightclubs through loan sharks. There are a few girls who eat and drink with them every day, but they are not good birds anyway. The two of them walked to Lao Xie's car and got in. Zhang Chen was confused. In this way, they were just a few gangsters. Even if that guy had some status, he had been retired for almost 10 years, so the tea would have been cold by now. Lao Xie seemed to know what Zhang Chen was thinking. He said. These little bastards are not worth mentioning. The one with damaged spleen is easier to deal with. I asked the loan shark to go to the hospital, and he agreed to everything. That gongzi is also a money-hungry man, and the terms are easy to negotiate. The trouble now is the master's father, that old man. He went to the branch and told them that they must deal with it seriously and enforce the law impartially. He refused to mediate at all, and he didn't know what kind of medicine he took. The old man was very stubborn. Don't listen to what others say. Although he has stepped down, there are still some old relationships between the top and bottom, and he still has a bit of face. If he is really making trouble like this, it will be more difficult for the branch to handle it. I also asked a friend to send a message to the old man and wanted to meet him. As a result, the old man refused to even meet. Zhang Chen sighed secretly. He understood Lao Xie's difficulties. It was really difficult to deal with such a stubborn old man. If you pissed him off, this kind of old man would not only quarrel with you, but also go everywhere. Send a letter and file a lawsuit against you. Generally speaking, when people in the public sector encounter such people, they must adhere to the principle that doing more is worse than doing less, and they will try to hide as much as possible. Lao Xie started the car and Zhang Chen asked, where are we going now? Go to the branch first and meet with Director Fu. Here, I'm also asking someone to look for someone who is closer to the old man and can persuade him, Lao Xie said, and Zhang Chen nodded. Along the way, the two of them felt a little heavy. Zhang Chen knew in his heart that the most difficult thing to deal with was the old comrade who had retired. If he is still in office, you can go directly to him. Everyone will reveal their cards, and the other party will also. It will leave a way out for yourself, and it won't go too far. If it doesn't work, you can still find someone who is higher than him. This face, he has to give it even if he doesn't give it, and there will be room for change. As for old comrades like this who have retired, they were reluctant when they retired, and they might still be angry in their hearts. At this time, if someone offends him, even if he does not mean it, in his eyes, he will think that you are. Now that he has retreated from the bully, the anger becomes even greater. Anyway, he has nothing to ask for, so he won't give any face to others. If you can smooth over this kind of person, you might be able to smooth him over, otherwise, with just a few words, the flames will rise to the sky. If he could find a way to see him, Jiang Chen felt that as long as he was sincere and apologized for his mistakes, and for the sake of everyone being a father, no one would want his child's future to be ruined. Jiang Chen felt that if this was the case, he might still be able to persuade the old man to take a step back, but now that he couldn't even meet him, it would be difficult. Since the old man has this attitude, Jiang Chen knows that even if he goes to the branch and meets the so-called Director Fu, there will be no good results. For the sake of face, the most he can say is a few nice words and then push the matter to the old man. Let them find a way to do the job of getting through the old man, and there will be no other possibilities. Even if someone could do this, Jiang Chen felt that even if he went to find Xiao Zheng, it would be inconvenient for Xiao Zheng and Director Fu to say anything. The best he could do was to find out if there was anyone who could get through to him. Old man, let them meet above, and then Xiao Zheng will help and say good things. Jiang Chen made up his mind that he could not wait any longer. After going to the branch, he immediately went to find Xiao Zheng. Jiang Chen picked up his cell phone and wanted to call Xiao Zheng to talk to him, but gave up after finding Xiao Zheng's number. He decided to go directly to the door and talk face to face. The car drove to the parking lot at the entrance of the branch. The two people got out of the car, checked in at the door, and asked if Director Fu was on the 5th floor. The two people took the elevator upstairs. When the elevator went out, they were in the office. A staff member came out to ask, "Who are they looking for?" Lao Xie said they should look for you, Director Fu, and they have already made an appointment. Is one of you surnamed Xie? The other is surnamed Zhang, the other party asked. Jiang Chen and Lao Xie both nodded in agreement. The other person said, "Please come with me." Jiang Chen and Lao Xie followed her, not to the director's office, but to the conference room next door. The other party asked them to sit down, saying that Director Fu was on his way back and would be there soon. "Please wait here." The two of them quickly said thank you. The two of them sat for a while, and then heard someone outside asking, "Is the person here?" Then I heard the staff member just now say, "We're here, Director." Jiang Chen and Lao Xie looked at each other and stood up. It seemed that Director Fu was back. After a while, a man in his 40s wearing casual clothes appeared at the door. He smiled when he saw them and shouted, "Brother Jiang Chen." Jiang Chen was stunned. Then, a well-maintained woman with fair skin who was in her 50s but looked only in her 40s appeared behind him. She also shouted, "Brother Jiang Chen." Jiang Chen was stunned again, then remembered and shouted, "Yilin. Jia Jia." Yilin turned to Jia Jia and said, "What do you think? Brother Jiang Chen can recognize us at a glance." Jia Jia nodded repeatedly, turned back towards the corridor and said, "Don't come over yet." Zhang Xiangbei then appeared at the door, looking at Jiang Chen and Lao Xie, smiling sheepishly. "Sit down quickly, sit down quickly." Yilin greeted Jiang Chen and Lao Xie. Jiang Chen came to his senses and shouted, "No, no, Yilin, are you that Director Fu?" Yilin nodded, "Have you forgotten my last name?" Jiang Chen smiled and said, "I never knew your last name. At that time, we called you Yilin when we were together every day. Who cares what your last name is?" Lao Xie looked at them from the side and smiled. He knew that they knew each other and knew that the matter had been resolved, but for some reason, Jiang Chen turned around and said to Lao Xie, "At that time, Zhuangzi and I lived at Yilin's house, and Jia Jia was our neighbor." Lao Xie said, "Oh, I understand." Jiang Chen remembered and asked, "By the way, Yilin, how is your mother? One year I returned to Haikan and looked for her to see your mother, but it turned out that your house was no longer there." Yilin's face turned gray, and he said, "My mother has passed away. If she were here, she would be so happy to see brother Jiang Chen. However, my bad boy dad is back. After the demolition, he came back." Everyone sat down, and Zhang Xiangbei also sat down. Jiang Chen looked at Zhang Xiangbei, and Yilin quickly said. By the way, brother Zhang Chen, Zhang Xiangbei's matter has been resolved. Sister Jia went to the hospital and signed a compensation agreement with the other party. The money was also given to him. The other party decided not to pursue the case. The police station has also closed the case. Besides, this matter was originally caused by the other party, Zhang Xiangbei, and the others just went too far. Yilin glanced at Zhang Xiangbei and said, I've seen the surveillance, and I didn't expect this guy to be quite capable of beating. He beat 3 people at once and even broke the bridge of their noses. Zhang Xiangbei chuckled, and Zhang Chen also laughed. He said, Yilin, if you really want to talk about it, Zhang Xiangbei is still your junior brother. He learned those 2 moves from your master. Oops, I'm dizzy. Yilin slapped his head suddenly and shouted, I should have thought of it a long time ago. No wonder. Come on, Zhang Xiangbei, call me senior brother. Zhang Xiangbei stood up, bowed to Yilin, and called, senior brother. Yilin smiled and nodded. By the way, Jia, I will give you how much money you helped advance Zhang Chen, and Jia said. What do you mean, brother Zhang Chen? If you say this, I will be angry, Jia said. Yilin also waved his hands and said to Zhang Chen, brother Zhang Chen, don't be polite to sister Jia. She is a rich woman now, and this little money is just drizzle to her. You don't know, right? Sister Jia is a wealthy woman in Hainan, the chairman of Jia Pharmaceutical Company. Their company was listed last year. Oh, I really underestimated you, Zhang Chen shouted. Jia's face turned red and she cursed, what? I'm making you look down on me. Zhang Chen quickly waved his hands. Jia looked at her watch and said to Zhang Chen, let's go to my house for dinner. Yilin is now the leader. It's not appropriate to go to a hotel for dinner. It's better to go to home. Although it's a simple meal, it's convenient to chat. Zhang Chen said, yes, when I get here, I will definitely go to Jia's house to eat from you. Everyone walked outside together. Zhang Chen and Zhang Xiangbei said, hurry up and call Xiang Nan. Zhang Xiangbei said, we have already beaten him. Where are Gu Gong and the others? Zhang Chen asked. Zhang Xiangbei replied, go back first. Zhang Chen nodded. Everyone walked to the parking lot together. Zhang Xiangbei went to take Lao Xie's car and followed them. Zhang Chen and Yilin got into Jia's car. Zhang Chen remembered. He picked up the phone and called Lu Li Gang, tell him, Zhang Xiangbei is fine, he met a good friend to help him, come on, I'll let you know who it is. Zhang Chen handed the phone to Yilin and said to him, Pol. Yilin answered the phone and shouted, brother Zanzi. Thank you for your monthly votes on the Road to a Nation, Daoduwu, and Book Friends 1505161323336392. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone.